Hey Hubitat users, if you are new to the Hubitat Elevation Hub, or heck, if you've even been around it for a little while, this video is for you. Hubitat recently provided you with a simpler way to automate. In truth, much of this has already been there, and it may have just been renamed or exposed in a slightly different way. So here it is, 4 places that you can automate before you get into Rule Machine. Stay tuned. Hi again, John Stone, the DIY Smart Home Guy. Hubitat Rule Machine can be a daunting endeavor. While Rule Machine isn't as hard as it looks, there are times when it is best if you just try starting with something else. Today we are going to talk about 4 places in Hubitat that you should become familiar with before you try an automation in Hubitat. There are motion lighting apps, simple lighting rules, groups and scenes, and button controllers, so let's get into it. And by the way, if you are looking for more help, Hubitat makes great tutorial videos as well. The Hubitat video frontman is Pete Borchers, and he's a pretty funny guy. In fact, he's a comedian.
To me, minivans are kind of like sweatpants, right? Yeah, like from the outside, it looks like you've given up on life.
There's a link below. You can check them out and give them some love. When it comes to accessing these apps, it's important to remember that they do not come pre-activated on your hub. That means that you will need to go into your apps page and install them. First up is the Hubitat Motion Lighting app, which is more powerful than it sounds. My garage lights, for example, start off pretty simple in that I have my garage motion sensor detecting for movement in the garage. When motion is detected, it turns on my main garage light and my workshop light. It's pretty simple, but there is more fun to be had. The third panel on the screen are options to activate, disable, and enable lights on. Here you'll see oodles of additional options for controlling your lights, like buttons to turn on lights, buttons to disable turning the lights on or off, and contact sensors that can also turn the lights on. I'll use my garage door open contact and my garage entry contact to turn on the lights as well. To turn the lights off automatically, we'll open that 4th panel, which is options for additional sensors, lights off, and off options. Here I set the minutes to delay before the off to 1 minute. This delay time will vary based on the reset interval of the motion detector, so don't expect the light to turn off exactly after 1 minute. And you should be sure to check out all the additional options under those panels for more great ideas. For you Wink users, this is much like a Wink robot, only a bit more powerful. For you older Hubitat users, this is really just the simple lighting app renamed. In this example, we'll turn on this Inovelli LZW30 Red Series on-off switch anytime the Yale Assure SL lock is unlocked. From here you have an option to automatically turn the light off after a specified period of time. You can also add additional restrictions which include between certain times, days of the week, or modes. There's also options for luminance settings. You also have the ability to disable certain automation rules by checking the on-off states of certain other switches. For example, in my rule to turn the light off when the door is locked, I set up a restriction to say, if the Inovelli dimmer is on, don't turn off the light. This uses the switch to disable that simple automation rule. Groups are a great way to have many lights and or switches to act as a single device. Grouping devices together will allow you to turn them on and off together with one command. For example, I have this group called Living Room that controls 4 lights that can be turned off with a single switch. Anytime you make a group, Hubitat automatically adds it to the device list. This allows you to add the group to a dashboard, or you can open it up in your voice assistant skill for voice control. And since it's on your device list, you can also control it from the Smart Lighting app. Chalupa, turn the living room lights on. Chalupa. That was funny. A scene, on the other hand, is a preset configuration for 1 or more lights and or switches. For example, my colored studio lights are a preset scene, and that sets each light to its predefined color. To make a scene, simply pick the bulbs, dimmers, or switches that you want to include in the scene, then open the Adjust Scene Settings panel to specify what you want each device to do when that scene is activated. Another option is to have all of the devices set exactly how you want them and use this Capture button. That will automatically save the current setting of each one of the devices. Now, there have been certain occasions that it may not correctly capture the off state of a particular device or switch, so you may need to go in and manually set that under the Adjust Scene Settings panel. There's also a nice feature called Scene Transitions that gradually allows you to morph one scene into another scene. In this example, my Studio Transition Fun 1 scene creates a red, green, blue spectrum of light using my 4 studio color bulbs. Studio Transition Fun 2 reverses that spectrum. You can then create a scene transition to morph Scene 1 into Scene 2. The transition time on this setup page is how long the entire transition will take from beginning to end. In this case, for the demonstration, I'm using 60 seconds. The transition interval is how often the lights update as they move across that spectrum. Shorter interval seconds will create a smoother transition. I also use scene transitions for my living room lights. I've talked about this before, using a total of 5 transitions between sunset colors, where each transition can take a total of 10 minutes. This provides an in-house sunset that takes an overall 50 minutes to complete. The last home automation helper that we will discuss is the Hubitat Button Controller. With Button Controller, you simply give the controller a name, and I also like to select the Keep Button List Sorted option. Then select the button device. In my case, it's this Lutron Pico remote. That will control an AC unit in my sunroom. Once you make your selections, you can pick which button events you want to pre-fill into your control list. I'm using only the pushed event. You can also pre-fill the other available options like held and released if need be. Then it's really as simple as telling the Hubitat what you want to do. I'm going to turn the AC switch on with button 1 and off with button 5. You can basically control anything from a button just like you can from Rule Machine or another automation. The only thing you can't do is conditional logic. If you want conditional logic, then you'll need to go over to Rule Machine. I hope that helped you get started with your home automation ideas. As you can see, you really don't need to dive straight into Rule Machine. With that, don't forget to subscribe and don't forget to click like. Over here are a couple of videos that I made just for you. Until next time, cheers.